Hello and welcome to Keeping Busy, a podcast show and tell thing where Brandon and I start realizing we're getting old. And you want to know who else is getting old? It's Bubsy. We shall share in our existential crisis together with our favorite Bobcat. This is our third fucking Bubsy game.
Is that my old camcorder? Where'd you find that?
Probably from an art.
But I'm Zach and I'm joined by Brandon. I wanted to get experimental with the intro.
Hey, I'm not that old.
Yeah, I've been doing that a few times too by just like making it sound like I'm completely out of energy and don't care about anything I'm doing. That's my way of experimenting with my intros.
Have you ever worn that before?
Mine is getting the audience hooked right away with keeping up with the... Oh, shit. I forgot to do the glitch.
Oh, there's a glitch with this cutscene?
Yes, I don't know when you're specifically supposed to do it. You can pause, skip the cutscene, and you can play as naked Bubsy.
Oh, well that's funny. At this point, if that's a glitch, you know that the developers will probably figure out that that's a thing and they'll just put it in the game in some way.
Yeah, I think I heard of that because of an interview with the developer. They were like, yeah, somebody did that.
Again? Aren't they tired of the same old
Yeah,
shit?
Bubsy actually has... When he's naked Bubsy, he actually has, like a blur effect on the crotch area.
Well, that's fun. Like, that's the difference between this and all the other Bubsy games we have covered, is that, when I saw just, like, the trailer for this game, it just looked like, oh, this looks like something that has the potential to be fun. Whereas with the older Bubsy games, you look at them and they don't really look fun, they look miserable. And then the trailer for this game comes out, and it's like kind of making fun of, oh, Bubsy 3D, you know, it sucked so much, and let's forget about that. Here's the new generation, and it's like, you gotta be careful. I feel like when your series has a bad reputation and your trailer is making fun of the past entries, you gotta be careful you're not gonna curse yourself by going, now we're gonna make the good game.
I really should start locking my door.
But at the same time, when the game you're competing against is Bubsy 3D, I mean, yeah, you don't really have to try super hard to go above that bar.
Yeah, this could have been the most generic 3D platformer, and it would have been leagues above Bubsy 3D. But no, I would say this is far above generic platformer, because I played the demo when it came out about, according to Steam, I guess over a month ago. I think this came out in October.
Who cares?
Yep, this came out in October. It's just the first 3 levels of the game and, you know, some of the cutscenes. This is developed by good old Fabraz, and Fabraz was the developers of another 3D platformer I have a lot of affection for called Demon Turf, which had 2D sprites in fully 3D environments, and it had like a very just like charming art style and a really nicely crafted platformer where you actually choose where to put your checkpoints, which I believe is also a mechanic that carry on into Bubsy.
I'm pretty sure... No, the checkboxes in here are just litter boxes.
They're just the litter boxes? Okay.
Yeah, because Bubsy makes a joke about that. Yeah, I bet whoever came up with that decision felt real clever.
Okay. Yeah, I might be mixing this up because they released 2 demos for each of their upcoming games that I guess they're making at the same time. They have a demo out for Bubsy 4D, and they have a demo out for Demon Tides, which is the sequel to Demon Turf. And that, like the original Demon Turf, has you able to decide where to put your checkpoints. But that's fine that they don't have it here. And from what I remember playing this demo, which was a little while ago, I thought the checkpoints were put in fairly reasonable places. Like I didn't really get a vibe that this is going to be a super hard game. It was honestly very relaxing. It's also very surreal seeing all of these characters and Zach and I knowing who they are because we watched the Bubsy pilot animation.
Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised they brought characters from the Bubsy pilot. I guess where else would you pull characters from? There's not really characters to pull from the 2D Bubsy games or Bubsy 3D.
Yeah, there's really not a ton of lore to grab. But I will say this is not the first time these characters have been brought back. The prior Bubsy game made by the Bit Trip Runner people called Bubsy Paws on Fire actually did have all of these characters in that game, and the difference was that they were all playable. You could switch between any of them because, you know, it's a Bit Trip Runner game. It doesn't really 100% matter what characters you pick because they do play kind of similar. But the gimmick that makes that game fun is that certain characters will have different gameplay types. But unfortunately, it's not like I wouldn't call Paws on Fire a great game or anything. It's like it's fine. It exists. It just plays like Bit Trip Runner. This, to me, plays a little bit more like what people would, I think, hope for in some sort of follow-up to Bubsy that's actually trying.
I don't want to sit on the chair. I already know how to play the game.
VR? What happened to good old CRT gaming?
I wonder if the game will let me skip it. I don't think it will. I'm gonna try, damn it.
I would be curious to see what all of his junk is, but I think that's kind of the point, is that the upgrades you're buying are essentially stuff Bubsy already had that they just took from him. And I mean, they're doing the thing here that I appreciated in the trailers for Paws on Fire and other Bubsy media, or like other games that were like trying to bring back an old IP, is that, you know, Bubsy is very kind of egotistical and sees himself as super cool, when in actuality, I mean, he is lame, and everybody else around him kind of acknowledges that. But there's definitely more affection for him in this game than there was in the prior reboot games that come out over the past decade.
Yeah, I will admit, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh no. I thought I was going to hate the writing in this game, but, no, I actually had been enjoying it. Because I'm, like, yes, it's very easy to be like, oh, we brought back the hated character, and he's still really hateable, and I'm like, this is your chance to make him not as hateable. Just because you point out that he's hateable, and you made him hateable on purpose, doesn't make it any more tolerable. But yeah, I would say there's a certain charm to Bubsy in this game. I really like his redesign. This outfit's just so much better than a shirt with an exclamation mark on it.
Yeah, so much about the original Bubsy was very generic. Just in the ways that Sonic the Hedgehog was inspired by cartoon characters and took from that, as well as, you know, Japanese shonen manga, as well as other sources across the United States. Bubsy just felt like, I'm inspired by American cartoons, and then, like, he doesn't have enough of a real potent identity outside of that to really matter as a character. Here, they're using his legacy as the forefront for designing the new Bubsy, which is, he's a guy that doesn't have the best reputation. He's kind of an underdog that, you know, seems to not really have much to his name. And he just wears this tie and a shirt now, which, one, makes him kind of, you know, gives him the vibe of like just somebody's kind of washed up uncle, which is very charming. And it also is the typical kind of outfit you would see of like the stereotypical stand-up comedian, which also fits Bubsy's design.
Oh, I didn't think about that part, but yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, it is very generically like old school comedian vibes.
Which is, yeah, that's what he is. He's the guy known for doing the one-liners whenever you walk through the game, because that was what made Bubsy so appealing back in the 90s was, oh, wow, the characters actually being able to talk vocally in video games with, like, sound chips and all that, that's way new and cool and interesting. And then nowadays it's, like, so blasé that there's, like, a joke in this game where if you go into the options menu and try to screw with the settings for how much you want Bubsy to talk, he'll, like, complain at you for trying to turn him down. There's also a number of lines that are baked in for whenever you pause or whenever you try to quit the game. He's, like, not happy about that. But see, like, here it's charming, whereas in the original game, it was kind of like the same thing as, like, something shitty like Gex, where he's just saying pop culture references that have barely any relevance to the environment around him. And even if they're, like, the same genre of what he's referencing, it still doesn't really click because you can tell it was just a comedian in a vocal booth just saying references to things, and then they would just put those in the game somewhere without them having any sort of sense or real intent. That's why I really don't like the writing for a character like Gex. But here, Bubsy, Bubsy is more just like, yeah, he's making references to, like, old things because he's an old guy, which, is not necessarily original, but I think the writing is charming and makes it work.
Yeah, I don't think references are the problem themselves. They just have to, like, kind of make sense. And an old guy who's stuck in the past making old references, that makes sense. Bubsy is unk. He has unk energy. Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense. He was an uncle in the pilot. Which we don't really get many uncles as, like, mascots, do we? I don't think we do. Actually, no, it does kind of happen. Yeah, because Donald Duck's also an uncle.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole can of worms because Donald Duck and Scrooge and the nephews and all that's like a whole lineage. But you're right that the most popular one, Donald, is known for being a uncle.
Well, you did steal our golden fleece, so we just want to get those.
And Donald is charming in a similar way where he is constantly just dragged into chaos by his, by Uncle Scrooge or by his nephews just pulling him into terrible situations or crazy adventures.
Why am I talking to this scrub?
Also, I just now realized Bubsy is an uncle to twins and Donald is an uncle to triplets.
B-list celebrity extraordinaire.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Now, when I look at his two little nephews, I don't necessarily see them. I don't make the Donald Duck comparison. I more compare it to like the babies that every cartoon character has to take care of, or like Popeye the Sailor Man. There's some old Popeye the Sailor Man cartoons where he has to take care of some kids, and they're like rambunctious, and they just get him into trouble. I get more of that kind of vibe off of these two, especially from how they're interpreted in the Bubsy pilot, where they're just like the chaotic twins. Whereas I would say that Huey, Dewey, and Louie are a little more responsible. And while they do get themselves into trouble in their own ways, they're also the junior woodchucks. They're the, the ones that can always pull out a fact or a tip to get themselves out of a situation.
It mostly depends on the era, because I think in older Donald Duck cartoons, the triplets definitely existed purely to piss Donald the fuck off.
Oh, no, that's true. That's true. Like, very early showings of the nephews were like that.
But yeah, that is true. Like, in DuckTales, they're kind of, like, mischievous, but they're not really, like, malicious about it. They're just like, oh, we want to go on an adventure with Uncle Scrooge. They want to go look for treasure and all that stuff. And then, of course, you got my favorite interpretation in 2017.
So, where are we going next?
Where they actually have their own unique personalities. Who would have guessed? You just because they're triplets doesn't mean they have to be the same character, with just different outfits, or different colored outfits anyway. But that's a whole other can of worms. I'm trying to think. There must be a lot of other cartoon uncles. I'm trying to think of them, and none immediately come to mind.
Hey, twerps.
Yeah, because Sonic doesn't really, like, in the canon of the video game, Sonic does not have, like, an uncle character. But in terms of other continuities, Sad AM, of course, had Uncle Chuck, Sonic's uncle that was roboticized by Dr. Robotnik and constantly has to fight between his memories of his family while also being a mind-controlled robot.
Yeah, Chuck was a cool character in Sad AM.
Whereas in the Archie comics, of course, Chuck was there too and served the same purpose, but it's the Archie comics. So, of course, Ken Penders had to give every single Sonic character we need to meet all of their parents and know their entire lineage, and of course have romance happening and flashbacks and backstories that, I mean, in some respects, I appreciate the IDW comics for just tuning all that stuff out and simplifying it to a degree. I can understand people's feelings that it oversimplified some things, but I think in some respects the fresh coat of paint was a good choice. I guess time will tell when this game comes out, which its reported release date is somewhere in like the first or second quarter of 2026. So we'll see how this does and what it means for the future of Bubsy. I'm honestly not 100% sure how this is going to sell. I think the Irony crowd is still alive that will still pick up this game purely for those reasons. But yeah, maybe there will be enough people that got a good impression of this demo that they'll pick up Bubsy, and maybe we'll get more positive Bubsy media now that it seems like he's just never going away, especially after they released the Bubsy Collection.
Which is apparently a very good collection for a very bad series of games.
Oh, the reviews for the Bubsy Collection are hilarious. Because you'll read these reviews that talk about how well done the presentation, behind the scenes, extras, all the details and love poured into that collection. And then the collection still gets a 4 out of 10 because the games it's collecting. Oh, yeah, it has, you can now save your progress like on an emulator, and there's little quality of life improvements like giving Bubsy 3D full analog control, but there's only so much you can do with games that are so just tragically, deeply flawed as Bubsy. Oh, the control is better? Cool. Is the game good now? No, not really. It just means that it's a little less horrible to play.
I mean, if you're getting the Bubsy collection, do you want them to be better? Like, I would like to see better versions of Bubsy 3D, for example, but I think if you're going through the effort of buying a collection, I think that's more for, like, a preservation more than looking for, like, a remaster or an improvement.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they put out what it is, and I guess that exists now, and the Gex collection is now out, too, containing the 3 original Gex games. I can't remember how that turned out, if that was any better or worse, but I guess, your mileage varies depending on how you feel about Gex and how you feel about Bubsy. I almost keep thinking maybe I'd pick up the Gex collection, but then I remembered my times playing the only Gex game I have played, which is Enter the Gecko, the second game, the first 3D platformer Gex game for the PS1, and how I really was trying to like it and kind of like the aesthetics of the different TV channel, the different TV channel aesthetic levels was cool. But then I actually had to play it, and the game only allows you to do D-pad controls, and it feels terrible.
Oddly convenient how there's a golden fleece at the end of the path every single time.
Yeah, I did not like Gex 2 from what I played of it.
I mean, I've heard 3 is better. I don't know, maybe if they put in analog control and all of that in Gex, maybe that would be a little more tolerable.
They should also give Gex a bar controlling how much he's allowed to speak.
That's true. I mean, I imagine that collection might also allow you to switch to British Gex, who has his own entirely different references and dialogue, which, I mean, that's guaranteed for me to not get any of the references.
Oh, some free upgrades for my epic adventure?
Ugh, cringe. And definitely not free.
Just let us know what you need, Uncle.
Alright, what can we buy in the shop?
Stole for me, I guess.
We can get the twirl jump.
Yeah, and depending on how many yarn balls you can get some skins. I did pretty much 100% Gex. I did pretty much 100% this demo, so I was able to get the Bubsy 3D skin,
Shop's open. Come check it out.
which is exactly what we think it is.
Find some time to train in VR. I'm begging you.
Apparently, one of their patch notes when they updated the demo was they allowed the Bubsy 3D skin to blink, so it's not as creepy. Yeah, I would describe the gameplay of this game, Zach, as being somewhat similar to what they've already done with Demon Turf. I mean, it's running on the same exact engine as the sequel Demon Tides. And it has that similar kind of vibe where you're jumping in the air and then switching between different forms and moves to propel yourself forward. Like in Demon Turf, you're playing as like a vampire girl who can change into like a bat form, and what all does she have? She has like I think maybe like a slime form too, or just like different forms that allow her to navigate the environment, and that allows you to do different kinds of jump combinations for different kinds of jumps. So like here, where you got the double jump where he's running his legs, or you got the pounce, or you got the glide, and depending on how you change which ones you use in what order, it allows you to do different kinds of jumps.
Yeah, I would say the controls in Bubsy, like Bubsy's abilities are the main reason I really wanted to give this demo a try when I saw the trailer. Bubsy's got cool moves between the pounce and the double jump / flutter jump. Like being able to combine this pounce with gliding and being able to run up the walls. Like it all makes for very satisfying platforming, and I've seen some people do like some speed running of the levels in the demo, and you can like build up some real speed and do some real like speed running tricks. I'm not much of a speedrunner myself, but I do like watching them from time to time.
Yeah, like it's not just the jump moves, it is this furball move Zach is doing right here. People have found ways to really just like master the physics of that and bounce off of things like over bottomless pits to just propel themselves over the entire level.
Oh, there is a Mario style like double and triple jump too.
I also like some of the implications in the dialogue that, for example, Bubsy's furball move is the result of him being constantly tested with radiation. So it's some sort of defect or mutation that happened to him. And that's, to me, a lot of that kind of lore they're adding on here just feels good for, like, Bubsy. You're just like, oh, man, this poor guy, he just can't catch a break. He's not a bad guy. He just constantly is put in these terrible situations and given bad games. But now, hey, look, there's something here.
It only took, like, 20 years for something, at the very least, halfway decent to come out. I would say the only thing I'm really annoyed about with Bubsy in the demo is the camera. And I've tried inverting it, I've tried, like, adjusting the camera. I don't know, I can never find a good comfort zone with this camera for some reason. I feel like it's a little too zoomed in.
Yeah, I can see that, and I imagine FOV will probably be an option down the line. Yep, another blueprint to buy more moves. Oh god, yeah, there goes the camera.
Quartum denim stratum.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that properly, but
That is very much, unfortunately, a platformer thing. That never feels like it's an exact science. Like, of course, you know, back in the N64 days when we were first getting these platformers, that was a main contention, was just how poor the camera was. And you're just like, okay, well, we figured this out by now, right? Right? And it feels like that's like a part of these type of games that has to be polished the most for anything to function right. Just as much as the control.
I would say I have played some 3D platformers recently that have had pretty decent cameras. Like Mario Odyssey, I think the camera is great in that one.
Yeah.
And then Psychonauts 2 as well. I think the camera's really good in that one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would say their past game, Demon Turf, had a pretty solid camera. I didn't feel like it was too zoomed in that game. And I like the music in this demo, like what's demonstrated so far, because it does not sound like the original Bubsy music, which had that kind of bouncy, just Saturday morning cartoon sound. This, I don't know how to, it's almost like more funky, I guess is the way I would describe the music in Bubsy 4D.
Yeah, I have my speakers down, so that way my microphone doesn't pick it up. But I do remember liking the soundtrack when I played the demo originally.
Yeah, the music is done by the well-loved video game composer duo called Fat Bard. And Fat Bard were also the composers of Demon Turf. Or at least one of. There was I think there was a couple different composers on Demon Turf, because some of the levels just full-on had rap in them or other types of stuff. Very distinct vibe in that game. But yeah, they've been around a lot. You'll see them in a lot of different games. They were also composers in Freedom Planet 2. They also were, for whatever reason, composers in Rugrats Adventures in Gameland that kind of came out and then immediately everybody forgot about.
Is that the NES styled Rugrats game?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I did completely forget about that.
Yeah, like it's retro inspired, but it's not like based off a older Rugrats game, which is interesting because I thought there were like Rugrats like platformers on like Game Boy Color or whatever.
Yeah, there's Game Boy Color Rugrats games, but not NES. I don't think there's any NES or even Super Nintendo Rugrats games. I could be wrong.
They were also the composers, of course, of Zach's favorite game, Guinea Pig Parkour.
I'm known for never shutting up about Guinea Pig Parkour.
Yes. And by that I mean it's a Kickstarter that's, you know, in development currently.
I love this ability. I've always wanted a platformer with this ability, and for some reason, like, despite there being so many cartoonish platformers, they almost never have anything like this.
Right. And, like, I feel like that's the thing that this game is doing well, that is kind of pulling from Bubsy's past identity and making his movement feel fun and unique. That doesn't feel like just a repeat of what we've seen with Sonic or Mario, where they're playing into that American cartoon Looney Tunes type of movement and actually making it a part of the physics and the moveset of Bubsy, which is very intriguing. Because that could be extremely fun if you could get a cartoon character type of moveset that, you know, he's actually walking off of ledges or playing around with physics in a way that is intentionally supposed to not feel real.
Yeah, I remember having an idea like that, like even as a kid. I'm just surprised it doesn't happen more often. I assume it must have, and there's probably some super obscure one that exists out there.
Yeah, like I imagine... I have not played much of it, but I know that, you know, Pizza Tower is, like, super cartoony.
Alright, but that's more like a Wario Landish from what I understand.
Sure, I guess I'm more thinking about the art style of that game.
Oh yeah, the art style of that is definitely very cartoonish. Also, I'm so glad Bubsy doesn't actually take fall damage. That's one thing we don't need back.
Ah, yes, no, the Woolies are simply just, you know, lackeys in this game in a way that, well, I mean, they were in past games, but here, yeah, they're underlings to the Babots. The new villains.
Yeah, we did actually run into one Wooly who looked like he was a prisoner and he didn't attack us, and Bubsy even remarks like, "You're not trying to kill me?" He's like, "Nah, I'm not interested."
Yeah, don't feel like it.
Which, man, I really don't like the Woolies as, like, a concept in general. I don't know, their designs always bothered me.
But, Zach, cats like wool. It's like yarn that they play with. Get it?
Yeah, but, like, they kind of, like, steal the wool. They don't really have to, like, be called Woolies or anything. I don't know, like dogs would have been so much more obvious, or like mice.
Yeah. Yeah, as a proponent of the 2000s nostalgia film Cats versus Dogs, or Cats and Dogs, I would prefer, yes, that rivalry represented in a platformer.
I need to rewatch that movie because I don't know if it's good or not. Like, I know a lot of people don't like it that much, but I always kind of enjoyed it as a kid. Like, I always thought it was a bit stupid, but it was fun.
Yeah, I don't know either if that holds up. I'd have to give that movie another shot, but I remember always having a lot of affection for it. Though mainly when clips of that movie are playing in my head, it's almost entirely just the stuff with the villain, the main villain Cat, and a lot of his just excellent dialogue.
Stay here. Why? Because I hate you.
Yeah.
Oh. I was also very, very bad at this when I was first trying it. Hang on. I'm going to go reset the timer. Oh no, the game wants me to go fast.
Yeah, I screwed this up too. But I do really like this environmentally and aesthetically. This is really interesting. This whole like lacy patterned road. It's very surreal and, well, cartoony.
Yeah, like actually does something creative with the Woolies. Oh my gosh, I had so much difficulty in this part.
I mean, it's using the same logic as like Super Mario Galaxy, where, you know, these are like different planets, so their level design and the aesthetics of them could literally be anything. Though if I'm thinking about this kind of concept that's done with a little bit more intention, like, you know, you could say that, oh, all the different planets in Mario Galaxy have some sort of function because different races live there, or Bowser has taken over these things. But I always really loved the art design of Sonic Colors, because each planet has a purpose in terms of being made, to being transformed into something that Robotnik is using for his invasion and takeover of the Wisps. So Planet Wisp is this beautiful series of valleys and fields that has machinery, you know, kind of built through it, which has that very kind of classic Sonic the Hedgehog vibe. Or, of course, Sweet Mountain, with an entire planet built just out of giant sweets for whatever reason. But yeah, this more surrealist feel for Bubsy, I think, works well and stands out more.
This Wooly must be particularly nasty.
Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits, if we're stretching the term out, of working with an IP that's established but nobody really likes or cares about. You can kind of get a lot more wacky with it. No one's going to be like, you can't have this planet look like this because back in Bubsy comic 451, it doesn't look like this. Like, who the fuck cares? You get to go a little bit more wild with it.
I mean, someone out there desperately cares about Bubsy's lore, but it's not the majority.
Yeah, unfortunately, folks, that is the end of the demo. Yeah, I would say truly give this game a shot. This game really is a lot of fun. Controlling Bubsy is spectacular. He gets some really, really fun abilities, too. Oh, I completed 1% more this time.
Nice. And the save data will carry over to the final game, apparently.
But yeah, I'm going to be honest, when the Black Friday sale was going on, legitimately, because I didn't remember when Bubsy 4D came out. I didn't remember if this is the end of this year or the beginning of the next year. Bubsy 4D was legitimately the only game I checked to see, and I was like, oh, this isn't out yet. I don't really want anything else. Okay, there's a bunch of RPGs I want. I'm like, no. I have too many other RPGs to play. I don't want another one.
Yeah, that was mainly what I was looking at, being like, oh no, I cannot do this. There's just too many RPGs, and I have too much other stuff I need to focus on and get out of the way, which will inevitably be replaced by more stuff as I never finish anything, and it's a nightmare. Hence the endless backlog that everybody seems to deal with these days.
Yeah, I feel so validated when I watch people make skits on YouTube Shorts about Steam sales, and they go like, yeah, so you can buy games you'll never play, and I'm like, oh, thank God it's not just me.
No, I think that's a pretty common feeling, especially when the Steam sales go on and people buy up a bunch of stuff and then just don't really do much with it.
Because it's like, why not? The game's like 50% off. You might as well just get it. One day you'll probably play it before you die, maybe? Who knows?
Maybe. That's Bubsy 4D.
I own Outer Worlds, and like nobody's played it. I haven't even touched it yet. Same with Disc Guild. Anyway, yeah, that was Bubsy 4D.
Yeah, I've not played Outer Worlds, but I have played some of Outer Wilds, and I actually somehow got myself stuck at the beginning of that game, and then it was not because I didn't know where to go. It's because I was like, oh, I want to explore a bit, so I went down into like this anti-gravity area, and ended up flying anti-gravity way off course somewhere without like getting the jetpack that you're supposed to get. And I ended up just stuck like a mile away from the destination, floating endlessly.
Oh no.
So I need to get back to it, because I'm sure I'd enjoy Outer Worlds if I gave it another shot. But yeah, and of course I want to play Outer Worlds because obviously that's made by the Fallout New Vegas people, and I love Fallout New Vegas. But I'm willing to give that a shot, especially now that 2 is, I think, already out.
Yep, 2 is out.
Lord, too many damn video games. And yet we're spending our time with Bubsy yet again.
Bubsy's comfortable and he's fluffy.
Yes.
Bubsy is proof to us all that if we work hard, we can redeem ourselves. We can cleanse we can't cleanse our sins, but we can move on from them.
Bubsy is proof that if you hack hairballs at a wall enough times, one is gonna stick and actually stay there, and someone will go like, huh, actually that one looks neat. Somehow.
Oh man, I can't. Oh my gosh, I know what I'm gonna title this video. Keeping Bubsy.
Oh no.
I can't believe I didn't think about this before. We've played 3 of these. It could technically be a full series. Anyway, we need to end this soon.
Yes, we do.